Hi, it's Tony Caridi along with Director of Athletics and Vice President Wren Baker, and it's time for a summer conversation brought to us by the folks at United Bank. Well, Wren, it's on again. Practices have begun and the Mountaineers are making news not only on the field and on the courts, but off the field as well. Earlier this week, the announcement that all WVU sports teams going forward will be wearing a patch with Antero resources on it. Want to get into that and just basically talk a little bit about the whole energy sector and how that's become a bigger player. First off, why did Antero make sense on the uniforms?
Well, Antero is a company that has had deep roots in West Virginia, and certainly has had a huge amount of the growth in fueling the economy of West Virginia. And so, we weren't confining ourselves only to consider companies that do a lot of business or here in West Virginia, but that certainly is icing on the cake. The Antero opportunity come about, and it just made sense. All the way from their logo having mountains in it, and so when you look at a lot of these patch logos, they're coming out, and even in the NBA, and they're different colors, they're different, all that stuff, but it's in our color palette, which Antero was willing to do, and we appreciated that. And then the logo just makes sense, and then it's a company with deep roots here. And as I said earlier this week, the energy sector has such a deep and rich history with West Virginia, and really with fueling the growth of this region, not just this state. And when you look at our ability to grow the economy here in the future, energy production is a huge part of that. West Virginia is a massive producer of energy. Certainly natural gas is a big part of that. And so it just made sense as the #1 sports and entertainment and marketing arm for the state and the institution to marry those together and have an opportunity to highlight Antero, highlight the energy sector, and also bring in some revenue, which we know we desperately need in this day and time.
Yeah, it's making a statement, isn't it? I mean, we sit here, we're inside the Hope Coliseum. Diversified Energy started the whole thing off, right? Northeast Energy has been involved as well, among others, and so you literally have built a brand of energy here for the athletic department.
Yeah, you go way back. The West Virginia Coal Association has been a long time partner, but a huge amount of credit does go to Diversified and their CEO, Rusty Hudson, who also happens to be our Board of Governors chair. But they were the first energy company to step up with a big sponsorship, probably 4 or 5 years ago now, 7-figure plus sponsorship. And their relationship with us has continued to grow, but it's also paved a pathway for a lot of other energy companies that have done things with us. So if you look at that sector now, well in excess of 8 figures annually, so 8 figures being $10 million and up, is coming in from that sector to support WVU athletics, to support scholarships, to support NIL and rev share opportunities, to support travel, to support academic support that we do. So very important to our state, very important to the university, very important to the athletic program.
Yeah. Things are happening as we get ready for the start of this school year, the massive project at the end of football season with the press box, but also at Hope Coliseum. The outside ring, the much used outside ring over the course of 50 years, is starting to get a renovation. What's happening out there? What are your plans?
Well, as we sit, we're filming this from Hope Coliseum, the Peak Club here at Hope. And as I was walking in, I was eyeballing, they're doing some of the premium seating renovations where we're putting in the loge and club seating. The Coliseum apron is one. When I first pulled up here, game one, my very first day on the job, I flew in on a Sunday and we were playing a basketball game that afternoon. And I pulled up to, the apron is the concrete asphalt barrier circle that goes around the Coliseum, for those of you that don't know, and it looks terrible. It's crumbling. It has patches of different colors. What color it was there is red, and no one can really explain why it's red. It's been an eyesore, and it's been something that's been on the project list here actually for probably decades. And it's just something that it's not necessarily that sexy of a project that people just want to get into, but it's very critical. You think of the amount of people, not just WVU fans, but out-of-towners that come in for commencements and events. And that's the first representation that they see at one of the biggest and most prominent venues on this campus and in this state. And so I think it's a very, very important project, and two great supporters, Ken Mason, who's quietly does an incredible amount of things. You may remember Ken's the one that replaced the seats in the Coliseum, and he does projects. He and Jennifer, his wife, do projects every year. Last year they bought $100,000 worth of men's basketball tickets to give to people who couldn't afford them. Like, just a great guy, does a great job. But Ken and Jennifer stepped up, and then Dave Alvarez, who's been on the board and who's been a longtime supporter. Dave, everybody that I think is in West Virginia knows Dave, the unofficial mayor of West Virginia. But you know, those two really have taken the project on. We're still raising money for it, so if you're interested, we would love to have you. It's one of those projects that nothing is going to get used more of any of our facilities than those access points, and it really is going to dress it up. It's going to improve the safety, it's going to improve the look, and it's really going to dress up the facility.
You have mentioned on several occasions that people have been making contributions, whether that be corporately or on an individual level. You're just announcing this is an all-time record-setting year in regard to fundraising.
Yeah, so announcements coming out today that we had a record year, and I've alluded to that. Our previous record was somewhere in the mid to upper 30s, I think maybe 36, 37 million in a year, and we exceeded $110 million this last year. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who contributed to that. That's MAC sponsorships, that's people that are given to our championship resource funds, that's people who are contributing to the stadium project, the variety of ways. We couldn't do it without you at a time when resources have never been more critical. The people out there are stepping up, and that doesn't include major sponsorships like this patch sponsorship, like Hope Coliseum. So that's just coming in through the WVU Foundation on the philanthropic side. So we're very grateful to all of you. And you know, we stack a couple, 3 years like that, and you really start to turn around the trajectory of all of our programs.
Final thought, practices have begun here. It's time. You feel the buzz.
It is. We're sitting out here watching volleyball practice now. If you hear balls bouncing or music playing, they're getting ready to play. Our soccer teams are reporting and practicing, and then football kicked off this week. And so it's such an exciting and vibrant time on campus. You can hear the band starting to practice as well. And so fall is almost here. The mornings are a little cooler right now. And we're excited to get off to a great start. September 5th, Pat White, number retirement. It's going to be a special day. Everybody loves Pat. I know it's a moment that a lot of people are really excited about and thrilled for. Get your season tickets, and we'll see you here on campus this fall.
Sounds like a plan. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Tony.
Athletic Director Wren Baker, that'll do it. This special conversation brought to us by United Bank.